All right, it looks like we are live, and I am experimenting tonight with a couple of things. Tonight, I am getting ready. I'm doing an interview tomorrow morning, like first thing around 9 a.m. my time. It's not going to be live, but I need to get everything working tonight before I do that. And I mentioned the other day that I was about maybe 2 or 3 days ahead on content, so I figured it was a good time to get my camera upgraded, which I just did. One camera, I still got another one over here to do. I was fighting with the white balance. I'm still not perfectly there on that, but I would love to get your opinion as to how this looks. So Zombies Playground is here, SD is here. Hello, everybody. So I'm just curious how I look right now, if it looks okay. The new camera's got a little more saturation in its color than the old one, and I was really struggling with the white balance, but I think I have it at a point where I'm okay with it for the time being. For me, my process is it needs to be good enough so that we don't lose track of stuff. So I am going to be getting somebody to come in here soon. We're going to be looking at relighting everything once I get the other camera set up, and then we're going to go from there. And what I am doing, let me just give you a little look here. So one of my cameras is the new camera. This one looks a little different because it's still the old camera. I haven't gotten around to getting that one working yet. So you're not going to notice any real difference in the overall depth of field because I'm still using camcorders. But let me show you what the camera looks like here. Let's go shoot. There we go. So this is one of the new cameras. I bought 2 of these, and I bought them over the winter, weeks ago. I just never had an opportunity to really start messing with it and getting it set up. It took me a good 2 hours to get this thing configured exactly the way I wanted to get configured. But here's the thing. The reason why I chose this camera was not because I'm a big fan of JVC cameras, but because this is a long story, but as you know, I use a Tricaster. Let me show you what it looks like here. And the Tricaster lives down over here somewhere. It's actually the monitor's blocking it at the moment. Let me see if I can lift it up. Move out of the way for a second here. It's a little box. I can't get the monitor out of the way here. It is a little box right there, that box right there. That's called the Tricaster. That does everything that you see here on the channel, including live streaming. What we're going to do in a few minutes is get, let me pull it up real quick here, is get DDR1 here. So I'm going to click on this, and you're going to see it switch. We're going to get this working for my 2-up that I'm going to do with the interview. So it's going to be me and another person showing up in these boxes in a few minutes, hopefully. So I've got to get that set up. That's my next task. But I wanted to first get all the cameras working, which I did. And what's cool about this Tricaster is that it does all this for me. And the downside to it is that most camcorders output HDMI at 1080i. Not 1080p, except this camera. This one that I got here does 1080p at 30 frames per second. So that is the difference here. This camera, for whatever reason, is the only one out there that does 1080p 30 through its HDMI output. And I emailed, one of the nice things about B&H Photo and Video in New York City is that they know everything about what they have in stock. So I wrote to them and I said, hey, and this is great because you can write to them anytime you want and say, hey, I got this problem, what do you have to solve it? And they will write back to you with exactly what you need. And they suggested this camcorder, and sure enough, it works. And the big difference is that you'll notice behind me, and you should all tell me if you see this looking okay, there shouldn't be any jaggedy lines to that Mac right there or the 2GS next to it. It should be should look like it should look like. And if you have a 1080i camera, when it does the deinterlacing, because it's doing 2 fields, it's going 540 frames of resolution and then doing it again. When it brings those together, you get jagged lines, but this will be much smoother. And for me, the output has been the slow part of my workflow as far as editing, because when I go to export, I've got to do this crazy rendering that's really slow. So now I can shoot at 1080p 30, which is what I upload to YouTube as, and everything should be a lot faster. It's been bugging me, and it cost me like $1,200 per camera to get it worked out, but it's done. So hopefully that will solve the problem. And next up, we're going to be configuring the 2-up view that I'll be doing tonight. And it looks like we're getting some video output problems, which is always what happens at night. So let me turn off this. I think this is the problem. So what I'm doing here, by the way, is setting up, this is my Hangout things. The person I'm interviewing tomorrow, let me go back to camera 2, is going to come in on this. So what I'm going to do here is switch down the output from the Hangout here to 360p, outgoing video 360. And that should give us more bandwidth for my regular output here. Hopefully nobody's lagging. If you're lagging, let me know. So here's the whole process flow here. And then I'm going to get to work on this 2-up. So I mentioned the Tricaster, which is underneath the monitor. That's the control panel for it there. You can see it's set to stream. And I can also just hit record here if I want to. So that's normally when I'm doing my videos here, I just hit record. And it records right onto that box. And then it makes a video file that goes right into Final Cut Pro with no transcoding. And if I want to stream in high definition to the world, I just click on that, and that's all I got to do. Pretty quick and easy most of the time, except right now because it's saying my stream health is not working properly. So hopefully that will rectify itself in a few minutes. So what's going to happen here is the following. And somebody just mentioned that I have to flip the horizontal on it. Yeah, this is right now just in its setup mode, I think is what the problem is. So this little box here is called a magwell. And what this thing does, and I reviewed this a long time ago, what this does is it takes HDMI in and shoots it out via USB to a laptop. But what it does is it takes any HDMI input and makes it into a webcam. So you can use it with Skype or Google Hangouts without a driver. It's really quick and easy. I do this all the time, and this has been like the lifesaver. Now the Tricaster on the back here, let me see if I can get you another image of it. Let me move the monitor out of the way again. The Tricaster on the back, let me go tilt down here, has 2 HDMI outputs. So one HDMI output is going to my monitor so I can see what's going on. The other one here is going into, you can't see it anymore. The other one here is going into my Mac here via the magwell, and I can lock it into one position. So the person that I'm talking to on the phone later or on the Hangout tomorrow is only going to see my camera position, but I can do all the other stuff. So I can actually switch both outputs independently of each other, which is really helpful so that things never change. So that is how that works. So that's what I'm doing with the Hangout here, is just so that they can see what's going on. This is backwards because it's in its setup mode or whatever. So what's interesting, I'm not getting enough output for my stream here, so I might kill this now. Now, the other thing that I can do is route audio in different ways. So let me put things back on the screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. So then the output, which goes out that HDMI, is routed so that they don't hear themselves, because what we're going to be recording is my audio and their audio from the computer via HDMI. But what I can do here, let me go over to my audio mixer. If I go to input 3, which is my computer, you'll see here that I turned off aux 1. So what I'm doing on the output here, let's go over to the output. So you can see out 2 is getting the input 1. I could change that to any of the other inputs, even some of the effects channels. And I'm giving them aux 1 for audio. I know this is getting a little crazy, but that way they hear me, but they don't hear themselves, but the recording gets everything. That's the juice. And what's cool is that this thing works all in a single box, including recording, the streaming that you're Tricaster, which is really good. Unfortunately, down we went. Let's go. I'm going to reduce my stream quality, folks. So I will be right back. I'm going to drop down to 720p because it's just not handling the bandwidth load tonight. I even rebooted my router, but just is not happening today. So I will be right back. All right, I am back, and it looks like we're not going to have a good stream tonight. We'll see what happens. I'm still getting poor output here. I even went from 6 megabits per second to 2. RTV Live is wondering why I don't do mix minus on the mixer. And the reason is that it's just easier to have everything go out via HDMI. So if we go over to my Mac over here, let me zoom in on it. I have the output audio and the video, so it stays synced up, going through this Thunderbolt connection over to a dock that's on the floor. So this is all going out via HDMI, and that is how that is working. So it's just a lot easier to have it handle all of that, and that's what's been working. So I will tell you, I love the Tricaster because it makes my life a lot easier, let me tell you. My whole philosophy is to shoot live to disk. And this is what lets me do things as rapidly as I can because I don't have to do a lot of editing to get it done. So now what I'm going to be doing, let me switch over to my screen here so you can see what I'm working on. And let's go over to, so what we're going to do is we're going to have these boxes here that you see. Oops, go over to DDR1. These boxes are going to get filled with stuff. So how do we do that? Well, we do that through one of the ME channels on the Tricaster. Let me get the camera down here a little bit. I'm just shooting the screen just because it's easier to do this versus like looping it all around and everything. So here you go. Let's go over to input 2. So what I'm going to do now is fill up those boxes that I have. Hey, why is, there we go. I don't know what that is. Oh, I got the wrong thing up there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fill these boxes up with stuff. And there we go. So the stuff we're going to put in there, the first camera, this side is going to be me. And the second side is going to be the guests that we're going to be having coming in through the call that I'm doing. And what we're going to do to set this up is go over to our ME1, which is the first thing. Now what's cool is once you set one of these things up, they become like an input on the system. So this thing right here will become like another camera input. So that is how this is going to work tonight. And let's move this little window over here for a second. It looks like 720p is much better tonight than 1080. What happened is that, yeah, Zam, no 4K anytime soon. And we're streaming at 720p because school got out yesterday here for the kids. So I'm sure there's a lot of Call of Duty streaming going on in other games, Minecraft, that's eating the bandwidth up for Comcast tonight. So one day I'll get a better, more reliable internet connection that will always work. But it looks like we're able to do 720p right now. All right. This interview is not going to be for live broadcast, but what's cool about how this works is that anything on here can be streamed live while it's recorded. So there's a lot of flexibility with how the Tricaster works. And what I'm going to do now is go here to ME1, and we're going to build out what we're doing. So what you have inside of the Tricaster is two video layers here. So we have DDR1, which is the program. And let me pull up 3 there so you can see. So that's basically playing back everything that's in DDR1 right now. And now what I'm going to do, actually, you know what I do? Let me make this the background. So what I'm going to do now, let's say I pull up 1 here, you can see that I take over. But what I can do, oh, I got to remember how to fix this problem. Hang on a second, I got to remember this now. There's a setting that I have to do to make this thing selectable. So I need to go over to, yeah, and I need to go over. There's one of these settings on here. I forgot which one it is. I'm setting this up from scratch because I just changed my input resolution. Yeah, 2 layer. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I should have it. Okay, so now if we take a look here, again, we have the ability now to switch these around, but underneath it is the DDR1. So let's do something cool here, and I'm going to grab input 1 here, which is me. And I'm just going to zoom it out. And look what happens. Let me put it up on the display here for you. Look what happens. I start to shrink because this is now layering over the background. So we've got this running in the background, and I can put myself into this here. So what I want to do is put myself into the green box and then cut off any extra stuff. Now, I could probably do like a chroma key thing here and cut me out that way, but this is just easier, and it's going to look better because I don't have to match colors up or anything. So what I could do is maybe, we could try it. Let's try that. So let's try that first. That might be easier to arrange this. So let's back out of here. And I'm going to make this the primary here. Now, if I go over here to input 5, what I can do is go over to live mat, and I can pick out a color to knock out. So I can pick that color out right there and close that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm missing something here. Let's see. If I'm not mistaken, I can knock out that color. Usually that works for chroma key. Maybe it doesn't work for this. I may not like it just because it's not a... Yeah, maybe it just doesn't work with this because I'm trying to see if maybe I can just knock these out and do it that way, but it doesn't look like it's getting the color matched. Let me try it one more time. Let me kill... Oh, that's a little funky. Go over to DDR1 here on the main program. Now, what should happen when I do this, if I get the live mat correct, is that it should just completely knock out that green. You should see something underneath it, but it may... Yeah, I'm not seeing any changes here. Reset it and hit it again. Yeah, not working. All right, we'll go with plan B. So plan B, let's turn off the live mat here. Plan B is we'll go over to back to ME1. And what I'm going to do now is put myself there. And what I'm going to do is just basically get this aligned over that window there. So what I'm going to do here is zoom out, and I'm going to get rid of some of the edges on this just so I can get it closer to where I want it to be. It's to kind of get it aligned properly. It's kind of tedious, but and kind of a hack actually, because I'm just trying to get it right where it overlays. Then do stop. I wonder why that live mat didn't work. Usually it works pretty well, so I may need to play with that a little more. And we'll position this. I'm going to try to revisit the live mat though, because it's driving me crazy now. I definitely want that to work. Let me try to do it. See, I can't do it in here. I have to do it on the input. It could just be the color I chose. This isn't good for this. That could be what's going on too. Let me zoom in a little bit more. And the other problem is tomorrow I got to get the heads correct. So that's the other trick with this. And I'll hold this back up here so you can see what I'm doing. Thank you, Zam, for the super chat. Mushroom networks, and see if it's a solution I can try out for better internet reliability. Yeah, see, my problem is I don't have any decent internet here. That's my biggest issue. So I have what I have, and that is it, unfortunately. Oh, I know exactly what the problem is now. I was on the wrong thing. All right, so let me try this again. I was using input 5 here and not, it's late for me. I have not been mentally functional. So let's do the live mat here on the right thing. There we go. Now it's knocked out. You can see that. So now what I'm going to do is go back here, and we're going to have the top layer be DDR1, the lower layer. Whoa, that was a little wacky. What did I do wrong now? Here I can trial and error. There we go. And the background there is what I was looking for. But why is it doing that? I must have did it in reverse. Let's see. Yeah, it's the background layer. Why is it doing that? That's okay. So if I want that to be the back, there we go. Okay, one there. That's what I was looking to do. All right, that shouldn't. No, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way. So why is it doing it that way? Oh, I think I have to do it this way. So let me go back to here. So what's everybody doing tonight? I'm doing some boring stuff here if you're looking to watch paint dry. But it's a necessary evil to get the stream working for tomorrow. Maybe the way this has to work is one of these has to be on top, and then let me layer in this thing here. So let me go back over to our second screen here, and we're going to drop in input number 3 here, and actually I'm going to do another DDR for that. I'll put a DDR2. They have some sample people on here that I can use for stuff. So let's go over to Flips, New Tech. There's like this guy talking. We can just grab him and throw him in there. So he's our demo dude.
Hello everyone. Welcome to New Tech.
I think you might be able to hear him now.
Portable live production system.
So let's just turn his audio down for a second here. All right. So got demo dude running there. We're going to have that show up in that spot there. So let's go to input number 6. Actually, let's go into DDR2. We're going to use DDR2. All right, there we go. So where is he? We got to take him. Boom, there he is. And we got to shrink him down. Yes, so I think the solution here is, because this is going to be on top of everything else, let's have, that's what I've been looking to do. Perfect. Okay, so now if I go over to, that's weird. That just kind of blinked out on me, didn't it? That's a problem. Like that loop stutters right at the end. Let's see. No, so that time it went okay. Huh. That's another thing I got to investigate. But Sam, thank you for that suggestion on that network. I'll take a look. At some point, I mean, I don't do a lot of live streaming, but at some point it might be worth doing. All right, so let's go over DDR2. Throw him into the mix here. So let me go back. I think when I have all of you watching, I get nervous. All right, so there we go. That's exactly what I was looking to do now. All right, so I'm in this window, and we've got him in the second window here. So let's move him over. And so now that he's underneath this layer, I can just drop him in right there. And there we go. So we've got 2 layers. So we got 2 videos playing here. So we got the background going and him and me. So that is how that's going to work. And what I want to do now is reposition myself a little bit. So let's grab my position here, and I can move myself underneath there. Aha, that is exactly what I was going to do. So let me ask you all what you think of this. Does this look nice to you? Let me know in the chat. So Neil Fisher, I think he's a fellow Tricaster person. He says he really dislikes that the MEs won't allow another ME to be a source. Yeah, you can't nest them into each other. But what I really love about the Tricaster is that once I have it set up, I'm good. Like so right now we've got there's basically 3 video layers here. We have the video here of my Lon.TV thing running. We've got this guy talking and me, and then I could easily just switch back to me like that. or I could switch to him. Now, the next thing we're going to do is set up ME2. So ME1 is that, so I can switch back and forth to that or to that. Pretty cool. If I had the green screen set up right now, I could show you the live set. I can actually put people in live sets. Maybe I'll play with that in a few minutes when we're done with the rest of it. Oh, not Trickster. You know what? This stupid autocorrect. Whenever I type in Tricaster on my Mac in Safari, it changes it to Trickster. So I just fixed that. Mikester pointed that out to me. Shadow Drift. This is a custom device, so it is a PC, but it's not software. It's an actual hardware device. Okay, so that's done. So tomorrow, what's going to happen is I'm actually going to bring in the Hangout chat. So this guy will be replaced by the Google Hangout window that I'll be doing with the person I'm calling. So this is just a sample, just so I can make sure that's working. There's a small black and green bar at the bottom of my image in the 2-box view. Oh yeah, there's a little, oh, that is true. What is that? I think maybe I've got to reposition my video. So yeah, there we go. So I think what I'll do here is zoom myself in slightly, and that should take care of that. So yeah, so Kenneth Lawson says he finds the Lon.TV thing moving in the background annoying, and it might be. I'm wondering what you all think. Maybe it's too big. So I could do other backgrounds here if I want. So let's try a different one. Let's see. Although actually this one's kind of built in at the moment. See, that glitching bothers me too. You all just saw that, and I'm not sure why that is. Because it just like stopped. And it does this sometimes. It has like, if I reboot it, sometimes it comes back to life, so I need to talk to them. I can't tell you who the subject is, but you will see it in a couple of days. And Jacob, no, I can't adjust the resolution because I was out of 1080p and my connection bonked out. So yeah, so it looks like it's effing up when it hits that loop point. So it's not doing it if I force it over there, but when it hits that loop point. So let me pause him and let me start it over here. So this won't matter tomorrow yeah, see, that one went smoothly. It's almost like when it plays to the end and it has to start over again. And this actually could just be disk bandwidth. So am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording an archive file. So I think this is disk bandwidth in this instance, because I think if I get to the end of this, now that he's stopped, so there's a single hard drive inside of this thing. Yeah, I think this pause in the loop, I'm just waiting for this thing to loop through again. So I forgot to not have it record the archive as I was doing this, so I think that might be the cause of it. So there's a single hard drive in here. It's recording an archive, playing back these 2 high-def video files at the same time and trying to do all the other stuff that it's doing. And I think that's what messed it up. So we're going to hit the end of the loop here in just a second. And let's see. I'm just going to move around a little bit here and see if it jumps again. So, okay, so that time it was smoother. So I'll keep an eye on this tomorrow. I'll have some setup time with the person I'm interviewing. So what I might think about doing in the future, because I'm not seeing any delay here as it's going, but I think what's happening is that the drive is just not able to keep up. It has a spinning, it doesn't have an SSD built in. And I might upgrade it to an SSD now that they're less expensive. And that might solve a lot of these issues. It's just like a regular spinning hard drive, SATA hard drive. But I don't want to take it apart because, you know, it's expensive. So I think we should be okay now because he's not playing back. And tomorrow it's not going to have, this won't be a playback thing. It'll just be, so okay, we're loop again. We're looping right now and no problem. Okay, so it was due to him running back 2 of these things at the same time. So that was what was happening there. Okay, so that is done. Now the next thing I want to do is build some graphics. So you can do graphics a couple different ways on here. So the first way is to have like something running in this area here where I could just bring it in and take it out. But for simplicity's sake, what I want to do here is just have another ME set up. So these things are treated like camera inputs, so I can just switch back and forth here, boom, or back to me, and then, oops, where'd it go? There it is, back to that. Yeah, it's really having a hard time playing back this file. I'm beginning to wonder if maybe the hard drive on this thing is starting to fail. This is about 2.5 years old, this Tricaster, so that could be the case. Because I got a delay, I'm switching back and forth and it's not going right away. It's like there's a little delay to it, and this file might be killing it. Yeah. Huh. And I think actually what it probably is the fact that I'm also recording an archive while I'm playing this back, and that's stuttering the hard drive. And I just noticed another problem with this backdrop, and that is, take a look, see it bleeding through? And the reason it's bleeding through is because of the green knockout that I did earlier. So I might change the background to something else. Or I could try to adjust it here. Let's take a look, do some adjustments. So, yeah, that green in the TV, I think what I'll do is I'll make this a different color, like make it blue or something different than the colors that I have in the thing spinning there. So I may redo that video file, so I'll do that tonight. So Neil is talking about, yeah, I think that might be that's a good point, Neil. He's saying that he has disk issues when the drives fill up, and I've noticed that also. As the drive's getting more full, I tend to have some issues recording, and I have a bunch of stuff still on the drive because I had done a few videos before I left for the weekend. So I think the color I picked for these green things was too close to the green that's in the background, so I'm going to adjust that. What I might do too is just maybe lighten up the Lon.TV so it's not as pronounced. I modeled this after John Oliver's stuff on HBO because I like the way they do. You know, his show obviously is a different show than mine, but it's mostly him talking. And when I do my wrap up, it's the same thing. So I wanted to have like a similar approach to how I did graphics. So he's got his show name doing what my Lon.TV thing is doing here. I actually paid somebody on Fiverr to do what you see here. Yeah, they do have a defrag utility built into it. So did I just go offline again? All right, so that's done. So let me go build a graphic now. So we're going to go over to ME2, and we're going to go over here to GFX1. And let's go, actually, I'm going to go over to the media GFX1 down here. And I'm going to just add in a lower third. So let's take a look here and find a nice lower third. Yeah, it's funny. Some nights like I have a really good stream quality, and other nights it's just total garbage, and it's all Comcast's fault. In fact, I reset the router before I started tonight because I found sometimes resetting the router helps. And nobody's in the house tonight, so there should be no issues here. All right, so this is kind of close to my colors here. So let's take a look at a few of these. Try this one. All right, so now if I hit take on GFX1, we can pull up ME2 here. And pull up ME2, And if I hit take on this, boom, pops up. And I can actually go in here and edit this. So if I go back to me now, so I just switched, and that's, so I'm not actually having to go and hit any more buttons. I can just switch to ME2. I'll show you what that looks like here. So you can see ME2 is in preview, and if I take that, it pops up. So I can switch back to him with his title versus having to go and do all this other junk. So what I'm going to do now is just go in here and edit the title. And we're just going to call this now, when I hit ME2, boom, done. That's all you usually do. That is it. It's just that simple. So I think we're all set. So now the way this is going to work is I have a pair of earbuds plugged into the headphone output on the Tricaster. So the Mac here on the table, in case you missed what I was doing here, I think if, at some point, if I start doing, all right, so let me go back to a few questions here on Comcast. No, I'm not using Comcast equipment. I use my own modem and my own router. So I have a Synology router, and I've got my Motorola modem. And some days it works great for streaming, and other days it just doesn't. And I think it's all in Comcast's routing. I'm just on the residential service here, so everybody else streaming and doing all the other junk that they're doing is interfering, with what I'm doing. So that's the deal there. But what I could do is go to I could always go to the business class service, and that would guarantee me better reliability, although I don't know if they're going to guarantee stream reliability. So that's just kind of where it's at. So what's going to happen tomorrow when I call this person is that they're going to appear on the Google Hangout here. I think some of you may have heard this already, but I'll just go through it again. So they're going to appear on the Google Hangout, this Mac here. So one of the things that I love about Thunderbolt is that I have a single cable that does everything. So the entire thing is done through this cable right here. So this is Ethernet display and display out. So this is going into one of those Thunderbolt hubs. I think I'm not sure if it's visible down there. Let's take a look if I can show you where it is. Yeah, it's hidden behind the desk there. But it goes into that hub. There's an Ethernet thing on that hub, and then there's also HDMI via DisplayPort adapter going out, and that's going into the Tricaster, which is, zoom out again here, which is underneath the monitor here. Ooh, so it's right over there. So it goes into the Tricaster, and that's carrying the video and the audio. And then the audio from the Hangout is going from the laptop into the Tricaster, into the stream or the recording in this case. And then I have a headphone here, a little earbud, that I kind of run under the back of my shirt as like an IFB, so you'll see it kind of sticking out like this. Won't be that bad, but it'll be sticking out of my ear here so that I can hear the person that I'm talking to. Now, on the Mac here, what I have is something called a Magwell, and this allows basically takes the output of one of the Tricaster's HDMI outputs and turns it into a webcam. So this is an expensive little device, but it's a great little capture device. It works great. So what's going to happen is that my video and my audio from the Tricaster goes into this box and is basically treated like a webcam by the Mac here, and that's how it works. So I've done Hangouts before, and I don't rely on them for live streaming. So the person I'm talking to, we're doing a recorded interview tomorrow, and that will be fine. So if we have an issue, I can just stop and do some editing or something like that. So that is how that's going to work, and we'll see where the rest of it goes. And I mean, the problem I have here is that I'm just a residential customer. I think if I was on a business plan, I might be able to get better reliability out of the connection. It generally works pretty good, but I guess some nights it's just I'm sharing my space with everybody else, and school's out, kids are up late playing games, doing their own YouTube streams and all that kind of stuff. So That's where it goes there. So I can't actually tell you who it is yet, just because it's not like a famous person, but it's just the usual corporate stuff. So you will know when it's posted, hopefully by the end of the week, and then it'll also be on my podcast stream as well. So you'll be able to see it in both of those places. So he'll be in that box right there when we do this. And I gotta get this drive cleaned out. It drives me crazy. I gotta figure out some of this stuff. Yeah, so here's my thing right now with Comcast. I have 10 megabits per second up. Some nights I can do a 1080p stream at 6 megabits per second. I've been trying to get more speed up, but in my area, the fastest they do upstream is 10. So at some point, I may call them and see if it's changed. They do have, like, on the business side of things now, some really fast speeds you got to pay a lot of money for. So I might do that. The problem is that they will never guarantee streaming performance. It's not something they care about. So especially because I'm streaming to their competitor, essentially Google, at least for content. So that is that. And I don't think I'll ever see fiber optics out where I live, unfortunately. I'm going to call, though, there's a internet provider in the San Francisco area called Sonic, and they offer you fiber optic, I think it's gigabit, $40 a month with, like, it's crazy. And they do phone service. I mean, it's nuts, $40 a month. Actually, I'm not paying that much. I'm paying for my cable and the internet, $76 a month. And I've got the Blast Plus or Pro or whatever they call it now. So I have I think it's 150 down and 10 up. And by and large, the service, beyond the issues I'm having with the stream tonight, by and large, the service is pretty good. And I was paying $98 a month, and then the bill went down. I've never seen that happen before, but the bill went down. So I don't have any other rental fees. So I get HBO on this plan. It's like in basic channels. I don't do a lot of TV watching, so I get the basic channels, HBO, and then the internet service. But I have no Comcast equipment. So I have, as you all know, the HD Home Run, one of the sponsors of the channel sometimes. I have an HD Home Run doing all my TV stuff, and I'm going to be very soon doing a video where I'm going to talk about how I'm getting everything reconfigured. So the new cable boxes in my house will be the NVIDIA Shield TV. And then I might also just set up a Raspberry Pi as one using one of the open source, it's not OpenELIC anyway, it's Libre, whatever it is. One of the Kodi builds that you can just install and boot up on a Raspberry Pi just to show how it can be done. But I'm going to be switching over to the HD Home Run DVR exclusively, and then I think I'll back it into Plex for remote watching. I think that's what I'm probably going to do. So we'll see where that goes. But one of the issues that I have where I live is that I'm just in Connecticut in a very spread out area. So I'm grateful I have the performance I have because a lot of people who live out in, I'm not in a rural area. I'm kind of in a suburban rural kind of scenario here. So I get very good performance given where I live here. I mean, the number of customers per mile for Comcast is not good. So for them, so that's why it's where it is. Yes, tech thing, Patrick Norton there, he's on that service. Yeah, so I guess they're in San Francisco, and then they're in a few other of the suburbs around it. And there's a great example of density, because it doesn't make sense for them to come to where I am, because let's say you're in San Francisco or one of the suburbs, a block, a regular city-sized block in a suburb will have, maybe 25, 30, 40, 50 homes on it. Where I live in that same stretch of road, you might have maybe 7 or 8 homes. So it's spread out. We have these 2-acre subdivisions. So that's where it's at. So on tech thing, the service seems to only be in one town in California, uses outdoor access points to create a mesh network, and those do not scale well. Yeah, so that could be what they're doing too. I mean, there's all sorts of different approaches people are taking at this point, and I think for streams, you need to have very dedicated stuff there. So if ViewsPortal wants to know what I do for a living, there you go. I do this for a living now. I had a day job, but I quit my day job, as they say. They say don't quit your day job. I quit my day job, but I could do it. So that's what I'm working on now. So yeah, so tomorrow, it's not going to be live, but tomorrow I'm going to be doing the interview, and then hopefully you'll see that in a couple of days. I was going to get the review of the EverDrive N8 cartridge up, but I wanted to get this working, so this took up my editing time tonight. But I did find some folks to help me with editing, so we're going to hopefully speed that process up. Ken Market wants to know if I'll ever go to 4K. I will go to 4K at some point. Actually, some of you may be tuning in late. So this is one of my, where did it go? Here it is. This is one of my new cameras, and it shoots, let's get the focus going there. There we go. It shoots 4K. And it can output that 4K through the HDMI port on it. But I will not be doing it for a while because of my workflow. So my workflow centers around the Tricaster, which is on the screen here. And this is a pretty expensive device. It's right down there with the little blue light. And it does all the stuff that I do. And the key to how I'm able to do as much as I can as a single person doing it is that I shoot everything live to disk, and I control everything with this little control pad here. And the Tricaster does some amazing stuff like this. There it goes. Like our little 2-up view here, which I cannot do on anything else really. I mean, I can do it with a computer, but it doesn't. You know, the key I found with things is that sometimes efficiency is worth paying for, and if you're able to efficiently get something done by paying for a piece of equipment, it's going to pay back in droves over time. And that's why I invested in the Tricaster a couple of years ago, and it made a lot of sense to do it, because if I have 2 things to show, I can show 2 things like this in real time without having to edit that in later, and that saves a ton of time. So there is a 4K Tricaster that just came out. It's about $15,000, so that's a little out of my price comfort level. I could certainly get it and put it in here and pay a lot of money for it, but at the moment I think I'm doing okay with what I've got, because a bulk of my viewership are people who are watching on phones and other smaller devices, so it's not a huge demand yet for that. But part of the calculus in getting this camera was twofold. One is that it'll output 1080p 30 via its HDMI cable, which, believe it or not, very few cameras in the market will output 1080p 30 through HDMI. Most of them shoot out 1080i, and that was creating some imaging issues, some jaggedy lines and stuff on some of the videos that I was doing, and it was driving me crazy, and it also prevented me from very quickly outputting video. So I got these cameras because they do 4K, but also because they're 1080p 30 cameras out the HDMI. And so it's going to solve a lot of problems in the short term. And then, maybe in a year or two, when the Tricaster gets, they get a 4K Tricaster down into a budget price that I can afford, then I'll probably do it. Now, hey, if the channel takes off tomorrow and I suddenly get, 1 million subscribers and I've got that much rolling in every month or two, I'm in. But at the moment, we're not there. So I'm going to continue building and going off this Tricaster as long as it survives. So let's see. Are you going to buy a red camera? One man show asks. That's all the cool YouTube kids are getting the red cameras, and I would. I just think that for what I do, people want to get the information they want and be done, and I'm focusing on being able to deliver a good review. And part of what I'm seeing here is that, and this is no knock against anyone else, but everyone tries to replicate the Marcus Brownlee approach to doing reviews, and I do things very differently. I'm just about efficiency and getting things up and telling you what you need to know, and taking as long as it takes to get that out. Was there just a glitch on that? I think I just noticed a glitch on there. I got to reboot this thing. Sometimes the Tricaster just doesn't like working. Sometimes it could just be the hard drive is not cooperating here. But everyone does the fancy camera work and the beautiful product shots. But the way I look at it is, I liken it to going to McDonald's. Let's put it that way. So, you watch TV, and McDonald's has these beautiful shots of their cheeseburgers with the cheese melting perfectly and symmetrically down there. And then when you get the McDonald's cheeseburger, it doesn't look like it does in the commercial. It looks like something else. And I've taken the approach that I really want people to see what this stuff looks like, and you don't get that when you set the shot up. I don't think it's unethical what they're doing. It's just their approach to things is to make, obviously make it look as nice as possible. But I think to some degree, your iPad should have a bunch of fingerprints on it so you can see exactly what it's going to look like when you have it. It's not going to look as nice as it does in a Marcus Brownlee video or one of the other people doing it. So a lot of people do spend a lot of time on their videos. I can crank out in a good week, even before I quit my job, I can usually crank out 4 or 5 videos a week if I really go bonkers on it. And I can do that because I'm efficient and I'm not spending a lot of time in production. Actually, the longest part of my workflow is shooting the video. That's what takes the longest. But I would get a red camera at some point if they came down in price. But for me, this camcorder is doing fine, and it costs a lot less too. But I met Marcus Brownlee once. Nice guy, very nice guy. Right before he graduated college, and I think he had just gotten his 8K red camera, which is nuts. 8K. Ah. So Kenneth Lawson mostly watches YouTube on the Roku on his 4K TV. Yeah, I do watch a good amount of YouTube on my NVIDIA Shield on my TV. Zam is watching the stream on a 4K curved TV. So this must look like crap right now at 720p. Mikester says, I must look fine in 4K. I think I look pretty bad in any resolution. Razor says Tricaster should make a 8K streaming device. I'm sure that'll happen at some point. It's only a matter of time. What's funny is 4K seems to be, it's more useful than the 3D turned out to be. Space Cadet's on a 10-inch wireless tablet. And 10spur saw the glitch. Yeah, so sometimes when it glitches like that, I just have to reboot the thing. I think what's happening is I'm stressing the hard drive due to that looping thing going, plus some other stuff happening here. So I'm going to clean out the drive tonight before I record the main video. I think that should hopefully fix stuff. Let's see. The Razor says he likes the detail. Good, because that's what I like to do. That's, it's funny, when I started doing YouTube about 4 years ago, everybody was doing short stuff. I was doing long stuff. Now everybody does long stuff. So I'll go do short now, maybe. Did I ever find, Paul wants to know if I found an external. Yes, I did find a couple people actually. So I think I'm going to start doing that. But I did, though, an analysis of and I've been doing this on an ongoing basis. I did an analysis of my time, the time that I'm spending doing everything that I do here on the channel. And it's been an eye-opener, actually. I've been surprised that the things that I thought I was spending a lot of time on, I'm not. And the things that I thought were not taking all that much time were. So shooting the video is by far the most time I spend doing the work on the channel. That is more than editing, more than product prep. And actually, it makes a lot of sense because I'm front-loading all of the post-production into the shoot because I can do stuff like that. I really got to figure out why it's so delayed here. But I can do this kind of stuff in real time versus having to do it all in post-production. So that's where it goes. Editing. So, for example, tonight I'm not going to upload a video tonight, even though I wanted to, because I was working on some consulting work and some other things during the day, and I wanted to get this working for tomorrow morning. So I'm going to edit tomorrow. But if the external editors I just had a conference call with them today, so hopefully later in the week they'll be ready to go. So if I had that going, I would have had a video up tonight that I wouldn't have had to have edited. So that's going to save some time in certain areas. So problem though is that it comes with cost. So I'm just gonna have to see where it goes, because really the key here in bringing on help, whether it's editing or having people come in here to the studio to help me with stuff, is that I need to be able to spend more time shooting videos so that I can get more up. Because the more videos I upload, the more revenue I make, and that's really how it comes down to. I'll do a few more questions. I'm going to call it quits in around 11:25 or so. It's 11:11 now. Make a wish. Ken Marker wants to know where I see myself compared to MK, HD, or Austin Evans. Do I consider myself to aim with the same viewers? Actually, I don't, believe it or not. So I've been looking at my analytics. First of all, I welcome any viewer of any age or demographic. So don't get me wrong, I'm not focusing on one area or another. But I do think trying to reach a younger audience, like under 25, is oversaturated. I think that's where Austin Evans and Marcus really do well in, and I'm sure they attract other viewers as well. But My focus really is on the older millennials through Gen X to baby boomers, and I think there's not a lot of people that have been focusing on YouTube on that platform because that age demographic hasn't been a huge part of YouTube up until recently, but I think there's great growth opportunity there, and it's very compatible with who I am and my age, so I think that's kind of a difference there. I think they both have really nice production quality. Mine's good enough to get the information you need. I consider this a commoditized process for me, that the videos that I produce, as I've talked about before, 75% of the people who watch are not subscribers and probably never will be. So people are coming through looking for information on something like the iPad Pro. It was a great example of a video that I just got up at the right time, right when people started looking for it, and I was getting a lot of suggested videos there. And did not pick up, I had 15, 20,000 views, most of them not subscribers. I only picked up maybe 400 or 500 or less subscribers during the period of time that the video was really cranking in its first couple of days. So, that's the way it works, but it's okay. I mean, I think you can actually do very well on this platform without subscribers. I'm not saying I love subscribers and I'm spending a lot of time developing the subscription base, but initially I didn't. In fact, the weekly wrap-up started like maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, well into what I was doing, because up until I really noticed I was getting a lot of subscribers, I was just focused on cranking out commodity content. So I now do the weekly wrap-up, which, by the way, is I spend the most time on the wrap-up out of everything else that I do as far as a single video, because I feel that building the subscriber base is really critical now. But I think you can do very well not thinking about subscribers initially and really thinking about searching, how people search. Because if you do that, people will find you and they'll hit the subscribe button. And I think those things really make a big impact. So Space Cadet says he comes here for the facts. Hopefully I keep the facts right. And when I get it wrong, I always put up something to tell you that, at least if I know I did it wrong. Sometimes I do get things wrong occasionally, and I really try hard not to, but when I do, I make a follow-up video. Razor talks about Red being overpriced. They are very expensive, and years ago there was a rumor that they were going to come out with an inexpensive camera, which they never did, because what happened was a lot of the digital SLRs caught up very quickly on video. So they were going to introduce like I think they were going to, I forgot what the name of the camera was going to be, but they were going to come up with a low-priced, quote-unquote, camera that was going to be in the $2,000 or $3,000 territory. But right when they were ready to start doing something like that, the digital SLRs were able to start delivering 30 frames per second at 1080p, and then those became kind of the go-to for everybody. And you can do some really nice stuff with those cameras. And Export Seeker points out that Red cameras are not too expensive. It's just all the parts and the accessories. And I think if you're looking at commercial level cameras, they're very competitive. In fact, they brought the market price down on the big deal cameras. So they were really good at kind of disrupting the market for where they are. I got to play with a Red Epic once, and it was quite a camera. I felt like unworthy of touching it because I had no idea how to use it. I had to figure it out. Let's see. Probably won't do anything on the Tesla. Just there's so much out there that it's. So what I'd like to look for is another glitch, wasn't it? Yeah, you know what it is? It's that background going. I gotta deal with that. I know exactly what the problem is. I just have to get this hard drive cleaned out tonight. I'll do that before I go to bed. All right, so we'll stop that. So now I have the. I wonder if actually does it look better with the background not rolling at all? You tell me. Do you like it just paused like that, or should I just get rid of it completely? Let's see what else we have here. You can barely edit 4K. I can't imagine editing 8K. Yeah, it's a lot. What's funny, my 2012 MacBook Pro Retina could edit 1080p video no problem. Put a 4K video in there, killed it. But the iMac that I have now and my new MacBook Pro, not a problem. So it's a matter of your processor being optimized for it, I think, is really the big thing. I should make that t-shirt. So One Man Show says, where is it? I think I look pretty bad at any resolution. That is, I should do, maybe I will, I'm actually working, going to do shirts at some point. So let me think about that. So Export Secret says, imagine if you didn't have a Tricaster. I'd say your workflow is one of the most efficient. Yeah, so this is the thing. If I didn't have this, I couldn't do what I do. Now, when I started, I had, let me show you. I just got this in. I had the Blackmagic switcher, and oops, I'm like plugged into everything here. That is a lot less expensive. Let me go get it for you. And I just got this in. I haven't reviewed it yet, obviously, but I actually suggest this one for people starting out. This one, or before it was the Cerevo Live Wedge, because that was inexpensive and had some nice features, and Blackmagic did a big update with their television studio. So I started on the original TV studio. This costs $1,000, so it's not cheap, but it gives you the ability to plug in 4 HDMI, I feel like an infomercial, 4 HDMI cameras into it, and then you can switch live either on the unit itself or through the software control panel. And a lot of my earlier videos, if you go back to, so I got the Tricaster right at the end of 2014. So like December 2014 was when I did the switchover. Before that, I was using these ATEM products. Now this one will allow you to do a picture-in-picture, so you can have a video on top of a main video. So you can have a background like this and then put something over it. You can do titling and some stuff. It's a little trickier with some of the other things like titling and scaling. And the reason why I went to the Tricaster is that I can do stuff like this, which you can't do on this thing very easily without having a lot of extra stuff plugged in. But what they've done is made it a lot simpler now. So before you had to have all this extra equipment hanging off of it, they've got the XLR audio inputs integrated. It looks like it's pretty complete. But I don't know how the recording is done with it yet because they got rid of the HDMI output. Crazy. So we'll see how that works. But I'm hoping that I will be getting a review of this up soon. So I've been so swamped like the last couple of days, and I'm keeping track of my time. It's just been nuts trying to get everything put together. So yeah. So Austin says, "Hey guys." I think I say hi everybody. I think that's my thing. So and the weekly wrap up that I do. So Paul Peveler says that if I just updated my graphics packages. Yeah, see, I do everything myself because I just can't justify paying somebody to do really high-end graphics for me just yet. So at some point I'll probably do something like that. But it's going to be hard to avoid the 90s vibe because of the video that I do here. I'm not shooting off an SLR or some other high-end equipment, and that gives it looks more like a video vibe you might see on TV. What I am going to work on is the lighting, because I could probably make it look more like a cable news kind of thing, which is shot off video the same way, not with all the fancy depth of field and everything. So that's my next track, is to get the lighting worked out. Landon Cooley says, "Thanks for the great content." Well, thank you for watching and being a great viewer. Ten Spears says he probably found me from a review of some tech he can't remember anymore. But yeah, generally everybody here finds me through some kind of search algorithm, and I think that's for anybody really. I mean, if I had started a number of years ago, I probably would have gotten to where those other guys are right now. But timing is everything. And Paul mentions also that there is a nerd and maker subset appreciates the content and presentation style, not to mention the disclosure. Disclosures are really important because that, I think, is the biggest problem on the platform right now. It's hard to determine who's being paid and who isn't. I have no problem with people being paid to do things, but they should just tell you that they are. And there's so much of this. I would, especially like the channels that find all this, like this stuff from China that you've never heard of before. They're probably getting paid to do it. I've seen a few things now just throwing, as I get these emails from all these companies all the time that they just, they don't blind carbon copy the people they email. They just send out something to everybody. And every once in a while, somebody hits the reply all and asks for money. I had one of those in the wrap up. So. Let's see. Ten Spear says, "I appreciate the game talk. He does it so well, and I don't see other reviewers in game tech." Yeah, I would like to do more with gaming. The problem with gaming, just like some other things, it's so saturated that it's hard to, it's really hard to break through or at least get a decent amount of traffic. believe it or not, the videos that do the best here on the channel over the long haul are printer reviews, the cheap $100 printers that you buy at the store. Crazy. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, I'm going to work on that background a little bit tonight, Gary. I think I got to think about that, because I have another looping backdrop that's not as bright. But what I think I'm going to do with this is, I'm going to work on this tonight. I'm going to lighten up the Lon.TV so that it's moving, but it's not as clear as it is. I think it's so in focus that it overpowers the rest of the image. I tried to do a little drop shadow on the image here to make it look not as bad, but I think if I lighten that up a bit, that might look a little better. It'll be good enough for tomorrow. I'm all about just throwing it out there. Here's the thing. I think a lot of people, like, you know, when they think about doing a YouTube channel, spend all this time thinking about it. You just got to start. And if people don't like it, they'll tell you. You all tell me when you don't like something, and it's great. It's fine. So let's see. So one man shows my 10 cents. I would like to see a weekly or bi-weekly tech news commentary episode. Actually, I do that every week, the weekly wrap-up. I don't know if hopefully you've seen it, but I do a commentary on that and cover some news that is of interest to me. So Gianna Lomax is going to upgrade to 4K, the 4K ME2. Now here's the thing, and I had bought the 4K ATEM before I went to the Tricaster, and the biggest problem I have with that 4K ATEM was the fan noise. It was ridiculously loud. I mean, so loud that, so the Tricaster is sitting right over there. You can't really hear the fan over my microphone. The ATEM sounded like a jet engine taking off. Like, you really have to have it isolated somewhere outside of your production space. Let's see what else we got here. It's basically that wants to know if it's time for a haircut. Actually, it's not time for a haircut. I just didn't bother getting ready for this. I just I cooked. So I'm home alone, which is the worst thing for me. And I have that blue apron thing that I talked about. So I had to cook something tonight before it goes bad. So I cooked dinner, finished that, came down here and started working. And I got started on dinner late, so I had to go to a meeting for my Board of Education this evening. So I'm running late on stuff. All right. Let's see. Dominic says the stream's been going well for the last 20 minutes. Yeah, it looks like whatever issues we had initially have worked themselves out. Landon Cooley wants to know what's the best bang for the buck. What is the best bang for your buck price range for laptops? You know, I think it depends. You know, everyone's budgets are different, but I really, of the ones recently, I really like the Lenovo Yoga 13720 just because it's thin, light, relatively powerful for being portable, but it has the Thunderbolt, so you can do the eGPU with it. I thought that was a nice machine, and it's not. I think it starts at like $850. Not a bad price for what you're getting. On the Chromebook, I really like the Samsung Chromebook Plus that I reviewed. That's still my pick right now. So Paul Peevler wants to know, do you think the FTC will crack down on the lack of disclosure? They want to, but they can't. I actually had an off the record interview. In other words, it was a background discussion with somebody from there. They didn't want to have an interview where they were on camera on the record, but we had a background discussion. And what I gathered from the discussion was that there's so much on the platform that's a violation that there's just no way anybody can enforce all of it. So what they have been doing is they've been going after the larger cases that get brought before them as a way of setting an example. But, you know, I think, you know, one of the best example I think is recently is that Fire Festival. That's going to be a great one for the FTC to go after, because you have some really high-end, top-notch models who got paid a lot of money to get people to go to this thing who got stranded on an island. That's an example of why disclosures are important, because this was not some organic thing that they all decided they wanted to promote. It was the fact that they were paid to do that. So that was that. Let's see. Export Secret is going to give us all a video about some flexible LED lights. Yeah, it's the other thing, by the way, with lighting, it's gotten a lot cheaper. I use these really crappy, they're studio lamps, but let me pull it up here. This is my setup right now. This is how bad my lighting is. I have a new light that I have. I just have to get it set up. That's my next project. So I got that one over there, and I got this one over here, and I got somebody who's going to come in and help me with lighting soon because it's just a total. I never took the lighting class in college. I took a production class. I know how to run the switcher. I know how to edit, which I think were really important skills, but I never got around to the lighting class because I was a PR major, but I was taking TV production on the side. And actually, I had a TV show when I was 13 on cable access. I have a video up on the channel if you want to search for it, of one of my interviews I did there. Trevor Paisley says the analog NT Mini won't ship until September. Does that seem right? I think that does seem right. There's this resurgence now in this, and I think, so I think if you're a car person, I'm just untangling myself here. I think ready for call it a night in a minute. But if you're a car person, what do you buy? You buy the old car, or you get one and fix it up and everything. If you are an old geek like me, a 40-year-old geek, you buy this because this allows you to relive the past. And I think they are probably more popular than they imagine. This is niche hardware. I would imagine the process of constructing it is, I don't even know where they are made, to be honest. It doesn't say where they're made, but I have a feeling they're probably made in China in small batches, and they have to get enough of a order to, there's a risk here for them because this is expensive to make. I'm sure they need to get enough of a batch put together. Maybe they could be more transparent in how they get those batches put together. But I am really pleased with it. I think it's especially that firmware. I think the firmware really makes it into something special because now I can run like all my favorite 80s games on here, and the controller latency is the best on anything I've tested. It's that good. Even with the wireless controller it comes with, it's really well done, and I'm able to play ColecoVision in a very accurate way. ColecoVision was my favorite console. I'm always reminded of, we had a summer where we just rode our bikes around the neighborhood, and so this was probably 83, 84. I was probably in second or third grade or whatever. And the games were expensive. So back in 1983, 84, these games cost $30, $40, $50, and that's a lot of money. So every one of us had different games, and our parents wouldn't let us lend them to each other because they didn't think we'd ever get them back. So we would have to go to the kid's house to play the game. My friend around the corner had Gorf, which was an awesome game. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, this is a really fun way to relive some memories. I wish I had more time to play with it, but I don't. So Jay Skorpesky is from Connecticut, but recently moved to Tennessee. So yeah, I'm going to clean up that background a little bit. You all might not like the way it comes out, but let me know when I do the video how it looks, because I may, depending on my time tomorrow, I may just go with, so they have a default one. Let me go over to DDR3 here. So they have a default background, which I've used before. I wanted to brand it though. Hang on, let me go with ME3, and I can go over to, I'm starting to lose my mental acuity, so I'm going to be calling it quits in a few minutes here, but let me show you. Pull it up here real quick. Actually, let me show you something cool. So this is called a live set. So what I can do here, so right now it's got that thing in there, right? So remember we had our guy here that we were running. So I can take him, and he is on DDR2. Ready? All right, so there he is. So let's knock out his green screen. So we'll turn on his live mat. Look at that. And now I can do all sorts of crazy stuff, like I can zoom in on them. I forgot how to do that. Let me go over to, I forgot how to, so I just upgraded my Tricaster to the new edition, and they changed everything. So, but you've got these live sets, and actually you can put yourself in there. And one of the things you should take a look at here is look at his hands over the desk, because that to me is the most amazing part about this. Here we go. So I can zoom in on this. This is all in real time. And look how his hand is reflecting on the desk. And I can move the camera position around, so I'm able to tilt the camera here. And you see that? I mean, it looks real, but really all you're seeing here is that. Just with his green screen knocked out. And this is happening in real, oops, wrong button. This is happening in real time. So I've done stuff where people thought I was in an actual studio. Even if, look, even like his hands underneath the desk, like it's masking, you know, it's completely, it's amazing. So I want to do more with this kind of stuff. I have a green screen set up. And the other thing is that the Tricaster is so good at knocking the background out. Even with my crappy lighting back there, it just works every time. It's amazing. So I had some things I wanted to play with in media with this, and I'm eventually going to do some stuff with that technology. It's pretty cool. And again, I can just switch just like it's anything else. Just amazing. Let's see. So Jamil Shaw wants to know why I don't use Wirecast, because I need it. Here's the thing, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier. I need everything to work. So I could use Wirecast, and I have in the past, but there's always something that goes wrong. You're relying on the computer working. You have all these weird dongles and everything to plug in. Sometimes it's, if you're doing this for a living like I am, you need tools that just work. And this is a piece of professional gear that has paid for itself 20-fold since I got it almost 2 years ago. It's been just a tremendously helpful device. You can see what the control panel looks like here. Because you plug stuff in and it's just rock solid. It does everything. It streams, it records, it does what you just saw. And you can do all that with a PC, and I suggest actually that you do that when you're starting out until you have some revenue, until you figure out what your needs are. And that's been the other thing, is that a lot of people have asked me, like, oh, should I get all this equipment first? No, don't buy anything. Start doing your videos and then add the equipment that you think will make your life easier. So I started with this thing, which we'll be reviewing soon, the old version of this. And I used it and used it and used it. And then I said, you know what? I need to do X. I want to have two things up on the screen at the same time, and I want to be able to zoom one in and one out. And I couldn't do it on that equipment. So that's when I moved to something else. And I think that's the best piece of advice I can give. So let's go down a little bit here. I'll take a couple more questions, and then I'm going to call it quits because I got to get some sleep so I can be sharp for my interview tomorrow. I'm not getting a job. I'm interviewing somebody. So I'm unemployable at this point, completely unemployable. Steve Kemble said I got him to buy a second NAS after watching my Synology backup video. I'll tell you what, the Synology stuff has been awesome. I have an older one now. My Synology is almost 2.5 years old, and I am doing new things with it like every 6 months. So I just love that thing. And what I like about it is that it's kind of like having a cloud service, but you own it and control it, and they update it all the time, which has been really helpful. Full disclosure, they have sponsored stuff here on the channel, but my philosophy with sponsorships is that if I can't sleep at night recommending it, I'm never going to recommend it. And the stuff that I recommend is stuff that I use and love. And there's very few things that I love as much as I love my Synology, my HD Home Run, and my Mac over here, right? So those are things that I could definitely recommend. Synology is just awesome. Space Cadet says, full of tech info, but I haven't started a channel because I'm unsure if anyone wants to hear details. I think you should just start it, Space Cadet, because you never know what somebody's looking for. And if you have the time and the energy and you're not putting it towards doing that, you'll never know. So here's my thing, was that I was doing this stuff with these Amazon reviews, and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to start putting some videos out there and see what happens. And and everyone, I treat every video like that. It's just, some nights I'm better than others, and I'm like, well, you know what, put it up. And I think you'll figure out what people want based on the feedback that you get. And you don't get that until you start. And that's really, where you have to go. I mean, think about it. We're at one of my dreams as a kid was to have a TV show. I got a TV show now, and because you can. And would I appear on ABC or NBC? No, I mean, I probably would never have gotten hired by those folks. But I can do this, and I can find an audience for it. So, Viewers Portal wants to know what I do with the tech I bought myself. I don't return things, no. So I don't think that's ethical, so I don't return things. And I'm sure Amazon would be on to me if I was returning everything that I bought. No, generally, I sell the things that I review and bought on the store at Lon.TV/store. In fact, I've got 2 things up there right now. You too can be the owner of this beautiful Surface notebook for $8.99, $100 off the price because it's used and I reviewed it. Perfect condition, brand new. Over there is the AMD Dell that we reviewed, also at a decent price. So if you are looking for new stuff and you see one of my reviews, run over to the store because chances are it's going to get there. I have an email set up at Lon.TV/store alerts. Anytime I add something or lower the prices or do any kind of change to the store, I'm letting you know. So definitely check that out. Somebody got my old iPad today, so there's always stuff on there. Let's see. Nathan Scott is new to the channel. He's wondering what the chassis, how the chassis flex is. I didn't see too much flex with it. It seemed like it was pretty well put together. It's a lightweight metal, but it didn't feel cheap to me. I don't have it anymore, otherwise I would show you. But I was really pleased with the build quality overall. All right, let me take a few more here, and then I got to call it quits because I got to get to bed. You guys keep me up. So this has been going on for an hour and 20 minutes. I would have been done already, but I really felt like it'd be fun to stream this to you. Let's see. Yeah, one man show about the live sets. Yeah, you have to really do it right, otherwise it starts to look fake. You're right. If you get the perspective out of whack, and that's one of the hardest things I've dealt with it is not getting the perspective right. But let's see. But I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't do that for the main show. For a couple of reasons. One is that fakeness comes out. 2, it's hard to switch camera views. Like if I'm doing this, I got to figure out some way, because this would look weird going from a professional news set to this disaster here. So I've got to, I wouldn't do it for that. But there's some stuff that I've been thinking about playing with that I might try. Because if you do it right, you can look halfway decent. All right. I'm missing a whole bunch of questions, and I apologize greatly for that. But I need to get packed up here for the night because I'm going to be on this call at 9 a.m. tomorrow, which means I got to wake up, have breakfast, I got to take a shower, I got to walk the dog, I got to get everything situated so that I can spend an hour doing my interview. And then I will have a new video up tomorrow night. So be on the lookout for that. And I got to shoot something tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to shoot something. I'll probably do that jumper laptop. I think that's what I'm going to do. So be on the lookout for that. But I thank everyone for tuning in tonight. And Ricardo, I don't ship to Canada right now because of cost. But if you're interested in something, let me know, and I will see what it might cost to ship that unit over to you. Canada's not as bad as going to like overseas or something. So. All right, everybody, got to go. So be on the lookout. Some stuff will be coming up tomorrow night. I got to maybe I'll do another stream soon because I'm going to get this other camera here swapped out. So I got 2 of these JVC cameras now. So the channel will look a little different. We'll see if anybody notices. So don't give it away if you saw the stream. But this is the, that is the new camera that I'm using, and we'll see where it goes. So I'll probably talk more about that on the wrap-up. So that is it for tonight, folks. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all very soon. And thanks for helping me troubleshoot tonight. I will talk to you all on the next time you see me streaming live, and you never know when it might be.